Hello everybody, this is Dylan here with a Dawn of War 3 1v1 shoutcast. And today we have a match between the Space Marine player Ekko and the Orc player frumpylumps. I almost called him Frumpy Jumps, which doesn't sound as exciting. So in this opening moments we have some boys queued up for the Orc player, frumpylumps, and then for Ekko we have a TAC Marine building from HQ. No TAC in the orbital relay drop pod as of yet, and no structures in so far. No second builder. Oh wait, there's builders queued up after the TACs. Pardon. Personally, I prefer the builders first because they can go cap and do stuff. I find getting your stuff out a little quicker doesn't really matter that much, but not a big difference either way. We got an early WOG tower over here on this left-hand western side, with the right on the resource point here as well, and then we got the boys coming up to support it. The Orc doctrines are not showing up properly for me, but it looks like he has the Mega Knobs command with the better shout. I'm not sure if that's just because he has the Mega Knobs or if that's something that's already active, so we'll find out in a few minutes probably. We do have a barracks coming up here, build scouts, snipers, and assault marines. Assault marine metagame, very common. His walk towers just kind of come up right here. Attacks look like they were just kind of moving here. They weren't, he's not really paying attention to those. We follow the camera. He finally caught it now, but this is not a good spot to be in. We got these boys chasing down these attacks, and the second boys squad coming up. We do have, oh, the structure finished. I thought it was building a unit. No second unit. Assault Marines are coming, but in these early engagements, these TACs should actually probably go back to the base, heal up. They didn't lose any members, I don't think so. Oh, they lost one guy. They have a lot of health, so may as well heal them up, and they can be at full strength again. It would be nice to see, like a... Honestly, actually, I kind of think if he just activated his WOG tower, hyped up all his boys, he could just go kill this, because Ekko doesn't have enough units on the field to really defend against that. The only thing that's sort of advantageous is the turret does protect most of the barracks. But I think these boys could actually totally just put some heavy pressure on this barracks. We do have, it looks like WOG going off here, and he does have a 4th boy squad. It's a lot of boys. No upgrades or tech so far. We do have a listening post coming up over here for Ekko to try and hold his eastern side. And we do have a Daka hut coming up for the frumpylumps while he pushes in. It's good to always be doing two things at once. He doesn't hype these boys up, unfortunately. He just charges them with the WOG bonus. He does have scrap on at least 2 of these boy squads, which does give him double stuns. Standard coming down in melee range, never really worth doing, in my opinion, because they just decap it. You're better off putting it a little bit back, and then the AoE is enough to still benefit you, whereas right now it's not benefiting him. It is coming back online, the boys stepped out of it. We do have a little bit of hype here, but it's kind of inconsistent. So these 2 squads have shields. I'm not sure if they got extra shields because of the better knobs in, but it looks like it. Level 1 increases their speed, level 2 increases their damage, level 3 gives them a shield. So if you want to actually min-max that stuff, usually you only need level 2, unless you're in a fight like this, you probably want the shield, but in a lot of situations, 1 or 2 is enough to really win some skirmishes against the right units. Not a lot of generators up, just 1 requisition generator from each player. Oh, that's a brutal turret shot, but he might kill his ASM squad. I think this is too risky. He's going to trade both these boy squads for maybe 1 ASM. Not even. I think he's actually just going to lose both his boy squads, and his ASM is going to survive. And not actually doing a ton of damage to this barracks, or anything really. So I think frumpylumps needs to reconsolidate. We do have the Death Watch command coming in here, which is going to really shut down his heavy boy strategy, I think, with this scout grenade. In general, I think 4 boys is probably too much. I think he could have benefited from a bit more of a diverse army. What do we got building here? We got a Luda squad building from the Daka hut. These boys are being caught out. I don't think they're going to get out of this unless they manage to Oh, what a perfect stun. It stunned them right before they got the shield from the 3rd level hype, and those squads are pretty much dead at this point. They might be able to slip away here, but it's unlikely. Finally decapping this point. No one's gone for the elite point generator as of yet. We do have a power generator up here and a power generator up here at roughly the same time, so actually economically they're on pace with each other in terms of generators, but the Orc player, frumpylumps, has lost almost all his boys, and the Spaceman player, while he took some damage, is actually in a better position now with the Death Watch. We're going to have to see a bit more conservative play. He does have the option to call into Storm Boys. Personally, I would actually prefer, in this case, to hold up for the Commando Knob. I feel like it'd be a better choice against the Space Marine army at this point in time. The trap would be really useful for disabling the Assault Marines and letting him chase down the ever ranged units relatively free for enough time to kill them. This listening post is interesting. Personally, I think he should be putting that money towards some generators here, perhaps. I would like to see Arsenal or Armory, one of the two, come up for Space Marines, and pile of guns for the Orc, get some upgrades out. Early upgrades can be hugely impactful in these early skirmishes, and because they only cost power for infantry units, it doesn't really affect your unit production so much other than the initial cost of the tech structure. We do have a second Wog Tower up, so he does have the option of doing another Wog push. He also has this one coming off, so we can actually see double Wog pushes, essentially. No elite choice from frumpylumps yet. He's probably saving that for when he really needs it. It's very... I'm not a huge fan of putting all your Wog Towers in one spot. It is harder to assail. We have I believe that's the Commando coming in. Yeah, that's the Commando coming in. I don't like putting all the Wog Towers in one spot, because if you have more coverage, you get more vision, and it gives you a bit more flexibility with your Wog pushes, where you can have it a bit closer, get more duration out of it. That's the other benefit of the pile of guns. You can actually upgrade the duration of Wog, which makes a big difference. I would actually like to see a bit more Wog usage here, especially with a weaker army, even just to scare him from attacking longer to build more units. He has enough here. You just activate one, make him a little scared to push in. We do have the trap coming up on these Ludas. That's exactly what I wanted. So the ASMs will jump them, and then they'll get stuck. So the Wog Tower grinding vision, actually letting these guys get mowed down. These guys are all doing nothing. Let's see what he's looking at. He's looking at it. He's a bit slow on the regard. We do have him capturing the elite point generator. The other thing about frumpylumps being so consolidated on this western side is he's kind of just giving up this part of the map, which doesn't really matter because he's not building any generators. These points are really just... He's just sinking a ton of money in a listening post here. And I'd rather go with the units, personally. Scout Squad's probably going to die. Yeah, Scout Squad's dead. This Servitor's going to die. And this listening post needs to be cancelled. We do have Deathwatch Flamers and Void Grenades. This Servitor is actually still alive. With 2 HP. He needs to go home. Wait, no, not 2 HP. Oh, it's 2 population. My bad, I was looking at the wrong health bar. Servitor does survive, which is good. He does have a chance to finish off this listening post, which would actually be really helpful here. But these ASMs are just barely going to get out. And then the Servitor's probably going to get killed if this Commando wakes up. But he might be distracted over here with the Deathwatch. Yeah, and I would like to see a bit more drop pod usage from Ekko Tech. Yeah, that Commando not killing that Servitor was a bit of a mistake, because now he has that listening post up on the elite point generator. We could see him follow up with Diomedes pretty soon, in about 3 minutes or so. Which would be pretty good against this Luda's heavy strat, because Diomedes can run really fast. And yeah, we do have tier 2 for Space Marines, which means the standard is upgraded with the orbital bombardment that targets high health units, and it still provides the shield. Deathwatch teleporting out with the teleport homer and coming back in, probably just to restore his health and maybe give him the option of changing his weapon. Looks like he went for the missile upgrade instead of the flamer this time. That's an interesting choice. Probably just try and kill the truck. We do have the Storm Boys command suicide bombers. I don't think he called in the Storm Boys, so I think that's just his army doctrine, which is a very popular choice for a lot of people. It doesn't have any cost as far as I can know. It's just a cooldown, so it's kind of free damage in a lot of cases. It's a pretty safe pick, considering how essential the trucks are. We finally have an Arsenal coming up. No pile of guns just yet. Unfortunately, we do have a boys hut now up here, probably just to build more boys in the fight. And not going to see any shooters, I don't think. Commando Knob doing something here. I think he's putting on a trap, but I think that was ill-advised. He could have just shot them and probably done massive damage. The truck dying for no reason. It's kind of sad. Still no uses to do these drop pods. I would like to see just put some scouts in them and drop them on them. It's really helpful for the disruption and the shields the unit gets when they pop out. Escalation phase 2. So both players are going to get a little bit less money when units die. Oh, we have early Knob Squad. That's why he built the Boys Hut. I forgot he had the 3 Wog Banners. So that's going to be interesting. Knobs, very high damage unit. 107 melee DPS, and they are heavy armor, which is good against everything here, except for the missile launcher. Oh, we do have a second barracks up here? That's an odd choice. I don't know if he meant to do that or not. We do have a Wog push coming in here with these upgraded Ludas and these Knobs. Probably going to be able to push the Space Marine back into his base and probably kill this shield gen. Look, these Assault Marines just getting torn apart by these Knobs. And the Servitor going to go down. Servitor is putting the bubble up and he's not actually hitting it. Okay, he finally hit it. If the bubble's up, you can't actually damage the shield generator. And you'll just damage the bubble. This barracks probably going to go down as well here. We do have infantry health 1 upgrading for Space Marines, and we do have the standard coming down here. Overall, I think they're going to kill this shield gen. I would like to see maybe a tank buster or 2 to speed this up and give them a bit more pressure, but this is doing pretty solid. We do have a Deathstorm drop pod coming from Ekko Tech, and that's going to be really scary for this army, because if he catches the Knobs out of position, he has nothing to kill it fast enough before it'll shred apart this entire Orc army. And I expect we're going to see that in a few, because these Knobs, plasma guns on these techs don't do any bonus damage against the Knobs, but they do plenty of damage in themselves with their raw DPS. The damage type is still normal though, so it's not like it's bonus. Standard kind of shooting fans, the laser beams. I've never seen that really do a whole lot, but it's kind of just a nice little buff. We do have a lot of requisition for Ekko Tech and not a lot of units. I would like to see some more attacks or something, especially with these plasma attacks getting destroyed. And we do have Diomedes coming down here. We do have frumpylumps with 4 elite points and probably saving up for these Mega Knobs. So those will probably come into play in a minute or 2 here. Good harassment up here with these weakened boys. And I would like to see this requisition being spent as well. Oh, sorry, that is actually the Space Marines requisition. Orc has a lot of money too. He needs to be spending that. It's floating like crazy. Pile of guns would be good. Oh, he does have one here. No upgrades as far as I can tell here though. Oh, he's upgrading something now. What's he upgrading? He's upgrading infantry health. So both players getting infantry health at relatively the same time. We do see this Death Sword drop pod come down, and that's going to mop up the Ludas. And this Commando Romp's probably not going to get away here. Although there's no detection over here, so it might actually be able just to sneak away. There's a few more generators. Still no generators on this half the map, so these listening posts are just built there to hold nothing. Personally, if you're going to do this kind of listening post... Oh, there's one here. If you're going to do these listening posts, take advantage of it, build some generators while your opponent's on this side of the map, and get some resources out of it, because right now you're defending nothing with all your requisition tied up in there. We do have Wog coming with these Knobs. Knobs don't have scrap yet. They do have the stuck in, which means they gain bonuses every time someone dies, which is always useful. And then they also have a shield if they taunt. So these Knobs, this build seems to be really geared around the Knobs. Personally, I think we need to see a bit more units coming up from both players. And a bit of a low at the moment. We do have I'm not sure about the double barracks strategy, especially if you're not building units. Seems like a weird choice to me. Either start building units, or why would you just buy 2? I wouldn't mind some heavy bolters. I think those would be good. Devastators in particular would be good against these Knobs, because they are heavy armor, and that's something people don't realize, is the Devastators do pretty solid DPS against them. Yeah, they finally got some units coming in. We do have a whirlwind coming in, that would be good. It'll help a lot against kind of Orc Law. We do have some shooters coming out with some sick bumps, and they do have I can't highlight that while they're moving. tons of bombs, so they'll periodically throw the grenades. So I think the hero ones, I'm not sure if those are active. I guess they are. I thought you had to have the hero spawned in to use them, but I guess not. You just need to have them equipped. And we do have another log push coming up here. Not the biggest fan of this. I think what he needs to be focused on here, instead of going to this point, he needs to be getting these points, building generators on them, and facilitating an even more aggressive lead. Right now, Diomedes is going to deal with this Devastator. Whirlwind Blast, not the most optimal. We got the Death Storm, I think, dropping on here. No, Assault Marines. That's an odd choice. We do have those Ludas getting picked off. This truck is getting picked off as well by this Death Watch missile launcher. But I don't think these Assault Marines need to... I don't think the Space Marine player needs to engage here. I think he needs to just pull a little bit back. Do have some Scout Snipers, which are good. And he needs to pull back and get another Whirlwind and then bottleneck them in here. I think that's the way to go. Diomedes is going to die here, I believe, with these knobs on him. I don't think he's getting away from this. He might be able to limp away with his passive. It doesn't let him die. Yeah, he is. So he's going to hopefully go back to base and heal up real quick. No more upgrades as of yet from Space Marine. We do have another upgrade coming up. We got the reinforcement of trucks, and we got the Longawa queued up as well for after that. That's the Whirlwind Blast I was kind of hoping for. Personally, I think he needs some anti-heavy armor. It is early in the game's life, so I think people don't realize that plasma guns aren't good against knobs anymore compared to other options. These shooters are going to take a ton of damage here. This missile launcher is actually really good against the knobs, but yeah, he is healing up in the base. Excellent. Frumpylumps probably has like $1 bajillion. He has a lot of power. He can bring in the Mega Knobs now as well. I think I would like to see him get some tank busters. One or two just go over here and harass that. They'll kind of force Ecotech to split his forces. These tax capping this is real risky. Again, we need more generators over here, I believe. Especially some power generators, which let you get some more economic. Finally, okay, he's pushing over to this right side of the map to harass it. Whirlwind is shooting somewhere, probably in the middle here. Not going to be overly effective, I don't think. This would be a good opportunity, I think, for Ecotech to kind of try and snipe a log banner or two. That would be useful. Also try and snipe some scrap piles. I think the Whirlwind might have shot over here, actually. It does do a ton of damage to scrap piles, which is an underrated benefit, because if you kill those, it takes some time for him to get more scrap. And if he doesn't have enough scrap, his units are going to be a lot less effective. They're going to have a lot less bonuses. So let's see, what do we got upgrading here? Longer Wogs upgrading. We do have some Devastators coming out, finally, the las cannons. So he built the Doctrine Trapple over here. Excellent. This is going to be really good against the knobs, although we are seeing more and more shooters. But the Whirlwind, I think, can deal with that handily. I think Ecotech needs to kind of push up onto this high ground here and really take advantage of his line of sight and longer range units to force these knobs to engage him in a suboptimal position. Still no Mega Knobs or even the Commando not being called back in, so Frumpylumps needs to work on, I think, on his elite usage. He is going to kill this listening post back here, so this, again, these listening posts have accomplished nothing. You see this a lot. People build a listening post everywhere, and personally, I'm a big fan of it because they rarely pay for themselves unless you're actually defending it with your army. All they do is they buy time for you to defend and kind of save your generators, but once you get to this stage of the game, they don't even do that. So my recommendation is only build 1 or 2 listening posts. Usually the most optimal one is on the, if you can get the elite point generator, because it's quite expensive. You don't want them to destroy it. This is probably the Commando? No, this is Mega Knobs coming in. I'm not a big fan of this. They're coming in completely overextended in the middle of the Space Marine forces with no support. They'll be able to get away, I think, but they're going to take a ton of damage here. We do have these Devastators doing a ton of work. They do 55 armor-piercing DPS. That's no joke. But we do have this Commando coming in right on Devastators. That's good. Electric Wall coming right here to block this missile. I think Ecotech needs to pull back here as he sees these knobs coming in here. I think he's overextended here with this Death Watch and these tacks. I think he's going to lose them. Hopefully Diomedes and Death Watch can get away here. He's going too deep on these Mega Knobs, I think. He's doing a ton of damage to them, but I don't think he's going to kill them before he starts losing his own elites. So my recommendation is to pull back a little quicker there. Yeah, Devastators, you can just see they're chewing up these knobs. Look at their health going down here. It doesn't look like it's doing a ton of damage, but it is dropping them like crazy. Good counter to those knobs. We do have actually the Mega Knobs getting picked off, just barely by Diomedes, but I don't know, 2 elites for 1. Not the best trade. And we do have... Oh, that was just a standard teleporting out. Economically speaking, Orcs has a ton of money. I think he has a huge economic advantage. He needs to just, I think, build a lot more units would be the way to go. Come here. Wait, what happened there? I'm not sure what happened there. Something died. This is very forward a listening post, but it kind of works in the situation. Although I think that money is just better spent on more units. He is building another Deathstorm drop pod from Ekko Tech, and that's going to be really dangerous now that he has these Devastators to really do the meat damage to the knobs. So I think actually Ekko Tech is coming out in a position where his army is strong enough to face down frumpylumps. Frumpylumps doesn't have enough units on the field, despite he has quite a bit of money. Especially power, I would like to see like maybe like a Death Dread, or even just some more boys again. He's kind of been neglecting the boys at this stage in the game. That's listening post again. You can't just build it without any support. I would also like to see maybe a what the hell is it called? Super heavy cannon tank thingy for the artillery. He'd probably snipe the whirlwind with that as well, and I think it would be good against these Devastators to support this melee army. Alternatively, I wouldn't mind a Death Cop to harass this point up here specifically and just starve the Space Marine of resources. We are probably escalation phase 3 at this point, if not 4. I can't really tell in the replay. And that's going to change how the economy works in a big way. You can see double resources up here compared to the beginning of the game. We do finally have a second requisition generator come up here. We do see frumpylumps took over this generator, so he's going to have the economic lead for certain. The question is, can he translate that economy into units? Still no more upgrades from Ekko Tech. Oh, he did get the damage level 1. That's good. I wouldn't mind the vehicle damage might be good with this whirlwind. I think that would make a big difference. And we do have Orc push coming up. Probably coming up to these generators again. Not a big fan of that. Oh no, he's going in for the turret. He's running directly into turret, and that was bad. You gotta really micro against the turrets. You can't just run in like that, or you're gonna take way too much damage. And I think if you're gonna do this kind of push, you really need some tank busters. And yeah, these Orc units are all just being torn apart, doing absolutely nothing. Although he did use his Deathstorm drop pod here, I think he should put it back here, so they had to flank through it. It's kind of a waste of a Deathstorm drop pod, in my opinion. Storebuy is finally being called in and harassing this upper territory. Servitor is kind of scattering it out. Still no elite point generator, not necessary at this point, although it wouldn't be bad if he gets some rocks going, although I think he needs 2 more Wog banners. I think he's only Wog level... No, he's level 4, so just 1 more Wog banner. And then, yeah, he's kind of running dry on money because he has to reinforce all this stuff, so I think Ekko Tech is... Actually, both players are almost identical resources. Okay. They're both... He's building another Deathstorm drop pod right away here. Which is a good choice, honestly, because he has a lot of crowd control, and the Orc player doesn't have the hard counters. He needs some tank busters. And he needs some vehicles, I think. Like a Death Jar would be really good. Alright, so... Whirlwind's gonna probably... Yeah, he's just hitting these Wog Towers, not doing a ton. Maybe even a second Whirlwind would be kind of cool, but we'll see. He does have the Deathstorm drop pod, so I expect that's what's going to happen right here. And Oryx blobbing up for the turret. Oh wait, the Commando's absorbing it, never mind. There's the Deathstorm drop pod. I think he needs to fake him out, because that wasn't very effective either. He needs some way to stop him from running away to really take advantage of these Deathstorm drop pods. And I think he needs to go a little bit more on the offensive here. Good harassment over here from these knobs. Not necessarily the cheapest unit to harass with, and they're taking a ton of damage from these Devastators to do it. Diomedes is overextended. He's going to die here, I believe. Unfortunately, yep. This whirlwind is being very effective, but I feel like Ekko needs to make a bit better use of his abilities and a bit more use of his production. And both players really need to produce a lot more units. A lot more units. But for the most part, map control is frumpylumps' domain. He did kill that Nob squad with these Devastators, which is a bit of a mismanage from frumpylumps. And I believe that's the 5th log tower coming up. No, that's the 4th one. Okay. One more log tower would be good. I would like to see some more upgrades as well. He did get infantry health level 2 and infantry jammers level 2. Deathwatch should pick a weapon of some kind, probably missile against this composition. I think we need a more diverse orc army here. I think there's too much reliance on the knobs, and it's making it real easy. We do have the Mega Knobs coming back in, and I think this is going to be a pretty decisive push in this match, one way or the other. I'm not sure where he's going. He's probably going for the shield generator. That's a good choice. Get some extra money and turn that into some more units. I would like some tank buses to try and destroy some of these production structures as well. Again, is that... Okay, that's a doctrine trouble. He's got so many production structures, but not enough units coming out of them to really justify them. These Devastators are dying. They should have pulled back up on this cliff, and they're going to die. It's kind of a waste. And kind of a slow reaction over here. This whirlwind, though, doing a fair amount of damage. We do have a Venerable Dreadnought on the field now. And, oh, we do have a Rocks over here as well. My suggestion here is pick it up with the Deathwatch and teleport Homer, because I want to see what happens when you do that. I've never seen it happen, but I wonder if they can actually teleport the Rocks into space, because that would be interesting. Or if they just drop the football where it is. Vendread's a good choice against the Knobs and the Shoot-Up Lob, I think. It does a ton of AoE damage. Deathwatch is just running away over here. Yeah, I would have been interested to see what happens if you use the teleport Homer when that happens. But good job picking up the football and getting it away from your team. I would have liked to see actually frumpylumps pick it up himself and charge it at the enemy. So we're looking. The space marines are like no units at all, but it's still working because frumpylumps isn't really taking advantage of his units, I think. This Vendread's actually the dangerous position here because these Knobs can stun it and get a circle on it, and then they can just whittle it away. They don't do armor piercing damage, but it doesn't really matter when there's 3 or 4 of them. And these grenades will do okay damage. Oh, this whirlwind's getting caught out. It'd be nice to see him throw the axe at it with the Knobs and stun it, but alas. Or even turn on the combi rockets on the Mega Knobs and shoot it. But it looks like he's going for it in melee. This is a bad decision because these Mega Knobs are going to take a ton of damage. They're not Assault Terminators. They can't teleport her out. I can't believe this Scout and Vendread are just up here. These Orc armies being decimated by this Vendread on the high ground. And these Mega Knobs are overextended. Probably going to die. This is just a really bungled engagement from frumpylumps, letting Ekko just mop up tons of his units here. Yeah. Units are just dying left and right here. Mega Knobs might just barely escape. And then they did kill the Doctrine Chapel, which does prevent Ekko from building any more Devastator units for the time being. We do have Vehicle Health level 1, which I don't think that affects anything on the field at the moment. It does affect the Whirlwind, but I think the Whirlwind died. And we do have another Deathstorm drop pod. Good harassment up here from these Knobs, although Knobs are not the unit you want to be harassing with. You want a much cheaper squad for that. They all kind of do it roughly the same. I would use something cheaper. Cheaper and more mobile. So economically, we do have frumpylumps is he's doing okay. He's got a lot of money coming in from all these generators. We do have Call to Wog for the boys. This is so unnecessary because you're not building any boys. This would actually combo really well with the shield from the better Knobs, but if you're not going to build any boys, there's no point upgrading this. Better off getting the vehicle health, because that would actually boost the Knobs health, because they are they have heavy armor, and that benefits from that upgrade, not the regular infantry damage or armor, which is little known, kind of obscure thing. I think people will figure out eventually. No scrap on these knobs, so they don't have their chop and toss, which could stun this Vendread. I think he just needs to. I think he needs some tank busters to do a lot more damage to his turret, and also the Vendread. And I think he needs some mobile walkers like a Death Dread or a tank, like the big cannon thing. I don't remember the full name. This Death Storm drop pod going to complete waste over here, honestly. I think he needs to use those way more carefully. They're really expensive just to use to kill like a cheap-ass squad. Wogging, I think he needs a forward Wog Tower as well, because he's running a really long distance. So having one more up here would be better if he wants to attack. He is going to kill these generators, which is going to be a nice little boon, I guess. Ekko Tech's money is pretty low, offense considered, with this constant harassment. This Whirlwind's going to decimate these shooters if they don't move. And they do just barely manage to get out of there before they got obliterated. Both players don't have any heavy-duty super elites, so they're going to have to make do with what they got. The Vendread's the most elite of the elites in this game. So there's not going to be any crazy shake-up here. They got to use these regular units. They got to use them effectively. They got to have more diverse army comps. We can start to see, if we get some Gretchens over here, these big scrap piles, we can get some Death Dreads out, we get some everything out. It's a lot cheaper. You save a ton of money by using the scrap piles for that, which is something I haven't really seen a lot of people do as of yet, but it's super important to do in Orc late game if you want to economize properly. So this entire game has just been Ekko Tech kind of fighting over these two requisition points with a very small army. 3 to 4 units is insanely small, versus the Orc Horde that keeps dying. And so it's really a war of attrition in the sense that these handful of Space Marines are holding off an entire Orc blob simply because frumpylumps is not building a diverse or effective army. These Knob squads are okay, but like I think he needs something else. He needs more tank busters. More tank busters would be good. Some vehicles would be good. God knows he has the power. Well, he doesn't have the power anymore. He has a lot of requisition now. He could also upgrade these requisition points, which would make a big difference in escalation phase 3 and 4. I believe this is phase 4 at this point, which is why we have insane amount of resources coming from these players. Diomedes again overextended and going to die. And his listening push just barely survives thanks to these Gretchens repairing it. His Scout Sniper's also dying. So once, like, if Ekko Tech leaves his base, he just gets destroyed. But because of frumpylumps' army choices, he doesn't have something that can really deal with his turret effectively. So it's a weird stalemate situation, I think. This Vendread is going to be key to staying alive, as the Whirlwind has been. In terms of what Ekko Tech can get for units that would help, a Dreadnought would be amazing against his army. Dreadnoughts do armor piercing damage, Knobs are heavy armor, and Knobs do normal damage. So a Dreadnought or two will absolutely destroy everything in melee. Absolute 100% hard counter. The trouble is, he doesn't have the power requirements for that. It's just so expensive. I think he needs to lay off the Death Storm drop pods and just save up as much power as he can. One option too, actually, that I would probably try myself, is get frumpylumps to commit trying to kill a turret and defend it with the Whirlwind and the Vendread, while other units go over here and try and snipe some of these scrap piles, some of these Wog Towers, some of these production structures. That would really set frumpylumps back in a big way. And it wouldn't take a lot to do a split push against this, because frumpylumps is pretty much moving a big ball of death into this turret. Take advantage of your opponent's miss micros, I think, and defend them cost effectively. You can see, like, the Stormbush just walked right into the turret, and all these units are getting destroyed by the Vendread and the Whirlwind, like, absolutely decimated entirely. We are seeing attack Marines pick up the rocks. I wonder if they could put it down somewhere. I'm assuming they can. Put down the football. It does some friendly fire, so there's no point in running towards the enemy with it. But, yeah, I like how he runs to almost exactly the same spot. See, he did drop the football, but it doesn't matter because the football's going to go off. Yeah, these rocks, he needs to pick it up on his own units. He needs to pull these guys back. He did a ton of damage. He needs to do a split push. These Gretchens need to build something out of all these big scrap piles. He doesn't have a ton of power, so he can't do a ton. But if he upgraded these resource points, he would have... oh, I guess maybe he did upgrade this one. No, he didn't upgrade it yet. The icon just appeared. Upgrading those would be a big difference. 25% more resources would make a hell of a difference. We do have finally tier 3 Space Marines. Excuse me. So, finally building some stuff. He's building some death dreads. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Finally putting that money to use. So you can see, even though he didn't have a ton of money, he still managed to get 3 death dreads in seconds. Probably a 4th one here, actually. They're just so cheap when you do the scrap piles. Oh, it's building a truck, okay. But with this orbital, I don't know how effective these units are going to be. That said, I think this is a much better army composition than what he had. Although he did lose so much resources. You can just see the devastation on the battlefield over here. The whirlwind has been killing everything all day, every day. Ekko is really demonstrating how to shut down a move kind of strategies where there's not a lot of thought in unit placement or army comp, and they're just hoping just to brute force it. All you need is a couple of really hand-picked specialist units, and he used WOG and stood still. Interesting. All you need is a couple of specialist units. You can shut down a massive army at your turrets. So really playing defensively can totally be in your favor. Frumpylumps has been kind of pushing with suboptimal forces, so he hasn't been able to really overwhelm Ekko very sparse defense. But I think with these death dreads is really going to make a difference if you can get them upgraded with scrap shields. They could just walk right in here and kill everything. But he's kind of just standing around, waiting for... Oh, finally getting some tank busters. Thank you. But I think this orbital bombardment is going to come into play here. I think we're going to see Ekko really mess up a huge chunk of this orc army with that orbital bombardment in this next engagement. Any more upgrades? We do have... no, nothing new, I don't think. I think he always had those. And we do have maxed out... We do have finally vehicle health 1 and 2, or vehicle health and vehicle damage 1 and 2, which does benefit these knobs. You can see they have 3,450 HP instead of 3,000. So they do scale. Their damage also went up. I'm not sure what the numbers were, but you know, 15%. Alright, looks like Frumpylumps get ready for what will probably be his final push. I think Ekko, well, he doesn't really have a lot of money, but I think if he kills his orc army, he can literally just destroy all his production here and be in a really good spot. We do have Diomedes ready to come back in, and we do have the Stormbites coming in. So we're going to see this attack move. Personally, I think he should attack this side. I don't know why he's taking the longest path possible. This is... you don't understand. Okay, well, whatever. He ran over there real fast. Interesting choice from Frumpylumps. He really does seem to just have his entire army on one hotkey here, which is not good when you're engaging these turrets. They absolutely punish that. All these Space Marine units absolutely punish blobbing like this. You need to... He could split this force in half and attack both sides. That would actually be way more effective than attacking one side, even though he has to fight 2 turrets at once. Provided he can get the tank busters to sit back and pop the turret from afar, I think that'd be more effective, because the limited resources of Ekko will be stretched very thin defending 2 fronts, and the turrets alone are not going to do it unless you let them. So he ran over here real fast. He does have some shields on these death jets. Looks like he's really consolidating for a final push. We do have a walk tower back here for some reason. Should be building it up here, but whatever. Maybe we'll see more units coming up with scrap. We do have a predator. What kind of predator is that? I can't tell. That is the Predator Annihilator, which I believe is the one high damage to heavy armor targets. So that's going to be good against all these knobs, going to be good against all these death dreads, and I think that's a perfect choice in this situation. Tank buster wise, I think he only has 3 tank busters, which is respectable, but you know, it's not as crazy as it seems. And these Predators are actually pretty beefy with 2,500 HP. That is with, I think, with some upgrades. We do have vehicle damage coming up too as well, so it's going to be doing even more damage. Alright, we got a WOG. Looks like a final push coming here for Frumpylumps. And we'll see what Ekko does to defend this. He does have the standard, he does have the orbital, and he does have, I think, the right counters in play. He just doesn't have enough units. But we'll see how this goes for him. He does have Assault Marines in reserve. These Death Dreads charging right in. 2 of them here about to get blasted by this turret. You can see how much damage they did. Took down their shields, took down most of their health. Rocks coming in here, interesting choice. Yeah, this engagement's crazy. Whirlwind missing. These shooters over here. This Venerable Dreadnought being picked off over here. Ton of elites here dying. Diomedes and Deathwatch are so close to death. The Orbital comes in and is picking up units. This turret's at about half health. But, oh, this Orbital is melting tons of units here. Tons and tons and tons and tons. But he is going to kill this turret here, it looks like. And this Predator, or this Whirlwind back here, I'm not sure where the Predator went. Predator's back here, doing decent damage. So turret is down, power core is exposed. But, personally, I think he needs to finish off this machine cult. Oh, my frame rate just went to toast. Something about this power core just destroyed my frame rate. I'm sorry if that affects your viewing experience. Every time it does that, I have to restart my game. It's really annoying. Machine cult's still up. I think it's going straight for the power core. Ekko does have enough money to defend it, but I don't think it matters at this point. He simply doesn't have enough units. He did use the standard. Okay. Oh no, he did use the shield, so he has 20 seconds of invulnerability. And these orc units are all really low health. He's actually, I think he could actually defend this here at this point with just the Predator alone, although he doesn't have any units. The Predator can, at the very least, kill these Death Dreads, and this one tank buster is going to take a long time to kill the power core. This Predator is being shot by the tank busters. He's baiting them into the turret. They're all coming into the turret here. But the Predator looks like he's... Oh, the Predator's not dead. Tank busters were targeting the Servitor. There goes the Predator. And the power core is kind of vulnerable here, and there's not a lot to kill it from either player. Frumpylumps has a few tank busters. He's finally building some more units, but has a weird situation to be in, because I think Ekko is screwed, but at the same time he's not dead yet. But we're going to see this Death Dread start to finally target the power core, and I think that is going to seal the deal here. So Frumpylumps finally managed to consolidate and push in, despite Ekko shoestring defense. His units are not, he needs to just kill the thing. Oh, picking up some shields, that's a good idea. Because these were relatively low health. And yeah, the power core is going to go down. There's nothing Ekko can do to defend this. And we're just going to watch it explode here in a second here at 14 FPS. Alright, and that's game in favor of the orc player. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Give me some feedback if you have it, and have a good day.